happen, according to CPS CEO Janice Jackson.
We're serving a large swath of our families who believe that this is the best choice for their students, and we believe we have a moral obligation to do so.
CPS CEO Janice Jackson says parents are driving the return to the classroom. There's some good news in Illinois' latest coronavirus count. Yesterday, the Department of Public Health saying the recovery rate in the state is now at over 97%. Blackhawks promoting general manager Stan Bowman. He'll continue to serve as GM of the team. Kobe White, 27, as the Bulls rolled past the Thunder in Oklahoma City, 124-103. The news, a service of Lowe's. Your crew has worked hard this year, so why not show your appreciation with a gift from Lowe's? Choose from brands like DeWalt, Metabo, HPT, Yeti, and more. While you're at it, get something for yourself, too. Shop in-store or at lowesforpros.com while supplies last, U.S. only. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
If you're not listening to Dan and Amy 24/7, then you're missing daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer. You're also missing the Dan Proft Show. 3 hours of new content each weekday from Dan Proft. You're missing some of the best moments from Dan and Amy from the past. It's all available at danandamy247.com or on the AM 560 mobile app when you tap on Choose Stream in the bottom left-hand corner. It's Dan and Amy 24/7.
Hearing loss happens. In fact, it's one of the most common health issues in the world. If you suffer from hearing loss, South Suburban Hearing Health Center can help. For over 20 years, their specialists have helped area residents improve their hearing and quality of life by providing hearing services and solutions designed to help you hear better in noisy places, hear phone conversations more clearly. They even offer solutions that are virtually invisible when worn.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Corsar O'Boyle, audiologist at South Suburban Hearing Health Centers. Staying healthy is more important now than ever, and that includes your hearing health. Hearing better is living better. Schedule a visit at one of our 4 convenient locations in Burr Ridge, Homer Glen, Mokina, and Crestwood.
Schedule your hearing consultation today. Call 708-966-4724 and ask about their digital award-winning technology hearing aids to receive $500 off your new pair. That's 708-966-4724 or visit southsuburbanhearing.com. That's southsuburbanhearing.com.
For 25 years, Turnkey IT has been serving the business community by providing reliable IT solutions. Today, we're expanding into consulting. Turnkey Consulting provides top-tier consulting expertise to help you grow your business and figure out where and how to make money. We uncover important data to guide your decisions and put you leaps and bounds ahead of the competition. As an intro to our team, we've designed an opportunity scorecard to analyze your current offerings and find the sweet spots that translate into profits. The scorecard takes 2 weeks to complete and identifies specific growth and improvement opportunities for your business. During this introductory period, Turnkey is offering the scorecard at 50% off standard rates, making it easy to help your business find the growth and profits that may be hiding in plain sight. IT services are still the cornerstone of Turnkey, but now Turnkey IT is simply Turnkey. Small business champions and so much more than an IT company, helping our customers thrive and drive their businesses forward.
Visit turnkey.pro today. Turnkey.pro.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I think this stuff works. I don't seem to have the highs and the lows. You know how sometimes you get real slow and low during the day? And I'm a type A guy, so I go a lot. And I'm more alert, and it seems like I don't seem to feel famished. And it's not very expensive. And the idea of having that freeze-dried or that nutrient in that capsule, and who's going to eat all those vegetables? You know, most of us don't eat right anyway. So whatever the science behind this, I think Balance of Nature is a great idea. And I'm going to probably stay with it until I drop.
Get a wide variety of all your daily recommended servings of whole fruits and vegetables without having to leave your home. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it is a fit for you.
7:38 in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
On the Tri-State Tollway northbound, just past the Hinsdale Oasis, watch out for a crash blocking the left lane. There's a car facing the wrong way there. Farther north, traffic is slow between the Reagan Tollway and the Eisenhower. Inbound Kennedy, traffic is tight from the Hubbard Tunnel to the Burns Circle. It's 21 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 21 as well. Inbound Eisenhower, traffic is congested past Mannheim and approaching downtown. It's a 31-minute trip from 390 to the Circle, outbound 28. Inbound Stevenson, 30 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, it's 28. On the Vine, we're looking at 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound 15 with congestion from the Circle to 18th Street. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Cloudy, 35 today, partly cloudy, 25. Currently 32. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning and welcome back to the show. And we're pleased now to be joined by Bob Woodson. He is a friend of the show, founder and president of the Woodson Center, also founder of 1776 Unites, a alternative vision for an understanding of American history as compared to that presented by the 1619 Project. He's got a new book, does Bob Woodson, Lessons from the Least of These, the Woodson Principles. Bob Woodson, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Pleased to be here, Dan. Good talking to you.
Yeah, I'm excited about your new book. And the place I want to start, because we spend a lot of time talking about groups and monoliths as monolithic, unfortunately. It's just sort of handles we use, but it belies complications, the black, white, middle income, lower income, and so on and so forth. And in your book and some discussions of it that I've read, you break down sort of three categories of people who are living in poverty, which has been your life's work of trying to uplift people of all races out of poverty. And I wanted you to break that down because I think that needs to be broken down so we can have that sort of textured conversation about it that's required.
Yeah, I was testifying before the Senate, and this came up. And what happens is that when people are talking about the poor, they tend to generalize as if everybody is poor for the same reason. But you can't generalize about any group, black, white, or poor. Neither can you the poor. And so I've identified three categories. The category one are people whose character is intact. They have the right values. They're doing it the right way. But external circumstance changes. Death of a breadwinner, a factory moves out of town, and they lose their job. For them, they use temporary assistance the way it was intended as an ambulance service, not as a transportation system. So they stay on welfare for a limited period. Then they go on. Category two are people who also have good character, but they look at perverse incentives when they do receive aid. If they get a raise, they can lose benefits that they need. And so they decide to stay on the dole. And if you just remove the perverse incentives, they will be fine. But the category three are the ones that concern most of us, because these are the people who are poor because of a crisis in values and culture. For them, when they're drug addicts or they're engaging in self-destructive behavior because of the poor attitudes or values, for them, giving the same kind of aid that you do for the first two injures them with the helping hand. And so that third category, they must be transformed and redeemed and having that attitude change, overhaul, and then opportunity works. Well, the Woodson Center's We specialize in Category 3. And so we've been successful in that. The problem is when we're debating remedies, people on the left tend to look at all poor as if they're Category or 1. And people on the right tend to think all poor people are Category 3. So we miss one another when we're talking about remedies.
And so to talk about some of the principles to deal with Category 3, since Categories 1 and 2 are sort of, as you say, they're sort of starting from the right foundation. So with a little bit of short-term help, they're going to get to where they need to be independent and successful on their own terms. But Category 3 presents, all sorts of challenges.
These are the people who are filling welfare roles, going to jail, who are of concern to most people. That's the category, and we specialize in that. Our groups throughout the country has demonstrated and that how to do that. And so what I've done in this book over the course of 40 years of walking with these grassroots healing agents, I call them, I have learned by observing how they promote redemption and transformation in people. And first of all, they have the highest expectation of people. And they're also very transparent. They go up to someone who's a drug addict and say, listen, I have been where you are. Let me take you by the hand and show you the steps that I have taken to become sober. Let me take you to the chapel. Let me take you here. Let me walk with you for a while. And as a consequence, they are enticed into a process of healing themselves. And these grassroots leaders tend not to be certified professionals. They tend to be, as I've said in the book, they have letters in front of their names, not behind them. X something.
And so thinking about sort of the basis from which you start in addressing poverty and by extension opportunity, success, how do you look at the identitarian obsession that has now been scaled to probably the White House? And we see this playing out in real time with Joe Biden's cabinet selections and the arguments from different groups based on race or sexual orientation, gender, the arguments that are occurring over how many Pacific Islanders do you have versus how many blacks versus how many Asians versus how many women versus how many LGBTQ.
It is the most destructive to the interests of poor people that I can ever imagine. That's why when I set up 1776, our goal is to deracialize race and desegregate poverty. I find it interesting that white guilt has become the new source of racism and also a source of black power. Critical race theory is a fancy name for stereotyping. We used to call it stereotyping, all blacks look alike, talk alike. And the old racists used to say, well, blacks they're shiftless, lazy, unreliable people. And critical race theory says the same thing, that all blacks, all women are the same. They're this, and therefore they all share this in common. It's the same thing. Critical race theory is stereotyping on steroids.
Well, then what did you would think when Joe Biden, then candidate Joe Biden, said, if you vote for Trump, you ain't black?
I mean, it's insulting. And yet this is what I mean. It's kind of he's ushering a new kind of racial McCarthyism that some have, but I'm amazed that there wasn't more of an outrage. It's almost as if the black left has almost abandoned any concern about the rich legacy of the civil rights movement. That somehow he can say that and still enjoy their vote. Is just short of amazing to me. Just amazing.
And this story out of it's sort of not particular to a state, but the Episcopal Diocese of Texas, acknowledging that its first bishop in 1859 was a slaveholder, And so you have these, for example, Minnesota Council of Churches cites a host of injustices from mid-19th century atrocities against Native Americans to police killings of black people. In the first of its kind Truth and Reparations Initiative, engaging 25 member denominations, what you have now is these ideologically left churches around the country are now pursuing what has been advocated for by leftist politicians and professional agitators like Black Lives Matter. The churches themselves are taking up the idea that they're going to take up collections for reparations, I guess, for the black members of their churches.
It is most insulting. I mean, it's not only that. One bar owner gave all blacks 20% off drinks.
Yeah.
You know, but it also misses too is that slavery was evil, but Native Americans, the 5 civilized tribes on that Trail of Tears, they took 5,000 slaves with them. So somehow portraying Native American people as the question is, and also there were blacks who owned slaves. And so the issue is a lot more complicated than that. But this whole move towards reparations is really taking on a life of its own. But the people who are being injured most will be low-income people. It's kind of like a racial poverty program. The $22 trillion that America spent over the last 60 years on poverty programs, 70% of that went not to the poor, but those who serve the poor. Any money from reparations will not get down to those in those low-income communities. It'll be a middle-class kind of entitlement program that all of these race grievance counselors will prosper. And this is what we're trying to do. The sleeping giant in America, Dan, are the thousands and millions of low-income people who are being pimped, and they're being scammed by middle-class people who are conspiring with the radical white left. In fact, the radical white left has taken over the civil rights movement. They are merely pawns of the radical left.
Well,
I saw some.
I'm sorry. That's what you say. You know, the problem is in America today is not racism so much as it is elitism. So how do you break that? Is it you know, if there's a particular public policy, some have argued, including Attorney General Bill Barr, more globally, that essentially school choice, you have to break the government monopoly, the government school monopoly, in order to break some of these cultural disparities that you're describing, like the you know, that are a function of elitism.
But you see, we didn't get here by having a policy. Black Lives Matter and critical race theory started as an exotic discussion on campus, and then it leaked into the mainstream of America. And so social institutions began to congeal around that false narrative. Well, I think, like matter, what we're doing at the Woodson Center is organizing thousands of black mothers who lost children to urban violence, and also thousands of grassroots people. In other words, the way that you have to confront all of these race grievances is because they derive their moral authority by being the so-called legitimate spokesperson of the poor. Well, if thousands of low-income black people stand up and say they do not represent us, in fact, what they're proposing by defunding the police is having the consequence of destroying our children. And so what we're doing at the Woodson Center is we are, within a few weeks, we'll be announcing a major campaign, and we are partnering with these mothers and helping them to, and there'll be other groups. There's got to be a rebellion on the part of low-income blacks to say they're tired of being exploited by these middle-class elites who are engaging in a kind of bait and switch game where they use the conditions of violence and despair, unemployment, and the so-called disparities being visited upon low-income blacks, and they're using it to generate income for themselves that will only benefit them and not the people in whose name it's being demanded. And so it has to be a moral brush fire. It has to burn from within. And that's what we're trying to excite now.
Well, that's the observation of Ludwig von Mises. He wants to improve conditions, must propagate a new mentality, not merely a new institution. And that seems to me is what you're attempting to do, the really heavy lifting of propagating a new mentality. Bob Woodson, founder and president of the Woodson Center, the new book, Lessons from the Least of These, The Woodson Principles. Pick it up. Bob, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
And thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson. And if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then listen up. Once again, our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway to raise money to feed families in Latin America who are suffering because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Our friends at Food for the Poor are working with partners on the ground at feeding centers to provide emergency food relief. And here's how your business can be part of the solution.
Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 60-second commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday to Friday at no additional cost to you.
To take advantage of this deal, just call Anjanette Natowski, 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. All right, it's that time of the day, but I forgot my balance of nature, and I'm not doing well. I keep asking Justin if there's a secret stash somewhere here at the station, but I will take it when I get home. And why I take balance of nature is because I want a strong, healthy immune system. And how do you get that? Well, doctors who have been on the show say get enough sleep, exercise, and eat a well-balanced diet, which I'm not doing on my own, and neither are you. And actually, the founder of Balance of Nature, Dr. Howard,